From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, this is Iowa Ag Matters. I'm Riley Smith. In today's show, Mark talks with NCBA Environmental Stewardship Award Program Regional winner Jack Smith. I discuss the U.S Taiwan reciprocal trade agreement with U.S Meat Export Federation President and CEO Dan Halstrom. And special correspondent Russ Parker talks with Eric Halfman of John Deere. Now here are your hosts, Mark Magnuson and Dustin Huffman.
Welcome into another episode of Iowa Ag Matters. And as I take a look at the market screen here this morning, Dustin, it's been a little bit of red on the screen on the grain side. And it's kind of interesting going to be talking with Joe Camp of Comstock coming up here in just a little bit on the show, but still some optimism about the trade situation with China. We've heard about these new trade deals as well with Taiwan and what we know about with India as well. So what exactly is leading to this downturn? Is it just due to the numbers, or is there something more there? But on the cattle side here this morning, it has been a little bit better as we started off the day here on Tuesday with some green on the screen on the cattle side and hogs along with it as well in the green. And this is, of course, our first full trading day dating back to last Friday because, of course, no markets yesterday for the President's Day holiday.
Yeah, absolutely right, Mark. And there was some interest in whether or not hogs had found their bottom. They had to slip through some resistance levels late last week and went lower than where we were maybe hoping they would go. And thankfully, they've hit that bottom or trying to resurface. That's been the plan, or not just plan, but that's kind of been the consensus, even on the overnight analysis that we saw as well. You know, soybeans have been interesting. They've been kind of back and forth a little bit throughout the day. In the morning, they were down quite a bit. Then they were up for just a little bit after the open, but then now bouncing back lower again. Corn has been just kind of holding below average, but, you know, it's been kind of along for the ride the last couple of days when beans and wheat have had some stronger outings. And, you know, to see corn kind of balance out again, and, you know, it's just one of those things. You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs. There's nothing really that's, I would say, causing any concern or any worry here in the markets, at least not right now, that would warrant any kind of a panic situation right now. It's just kind of the ebbs and flows of everything as it goes along. But of course, even the basis has been quiet the last couple of days, and I'll have that for you come up very soon as well. It's not moving much, or if at all. So, going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And Mark, you know, also things that are coming up next week, we will be at in San Antonio, not at, but in San Antonio for Commodity Classic. Looking forward to that. You know, I was thinking yesterday, walking around almost 70-degree weather, I'm like, what's the difference going to be when we get down there?
Yeah, it's kind of funny, isn't it? You know, we're looking forward to going down to basically southern Texas and thinking, yeah, we'll be in nice weather, but we're already dealing with it. I shouldn't say dealing with it. We're already getting that here in Iowa, which is very strange for this time of year. And it's also throwing off my, you know, farming calendar as well, because I'm thinking when we go to Commodity Classic, that kind of feels like the unofficial kickoff to the spring growing season when it comes to farming. I know we still have a ways to go until we actually get out in the fields and start getting some of that field work done. But it does feel like it because that's when we go to commodity, we learn about a lot of new products. We hear about a lot of new practices that are being employed in the row crop world. And it does kind of feel to me like this kickoff to the growing season as we get very, very close to that, you know, just around the corner here in spring.
Yeah, and exactly right. In fact, you know, a lot of the farmers that we'll see from the southern part of the United States and people I've even gotten to know in that region over the last couple of years, they're going to be getting ready to go into the fields when this is over. Of course, obviously, their growing season starts way before ours, or not way, but significantly before ours. And they're getting excited and chomping at the bit to get this rolling as well. We're going to go ahead and kick things off. Speaking of chomping at the bit to get going here, we're going to kick things off on Iowa Ag Matters. Take a look at what's happening in those grain markets here as we kick off a holiday shortened trading week. And Joe Camp of Comstock Investments sitting down to talk corn and soybeans with Mark.
Joined today by Joe Camp of Comstock for the opening market discussion. Joe, what's happening with the trade in the grains?
We're seeing a decidedly softer grain trade to open up this short holiday week. That's particularly corn and wheat futures with some rebound for soybeans. It's a tentative trade here after soybeans have been up for 2 weeks now. This enthusiasm about China still at the forefront. We don't have any flash sale announcements for anything, including soybeans to China, and we may see the reporting quiet on China, if anything, for the fact that they're on their Chinese New Year holiday here this week. So it is a holiday type of trade with lighter volume so far and a weaker stance for the grains to open up.
Joe, what do you see as the other main stories that we should be following right now on the grain side?
Well, certainly the trade aspect is still a first and forefront, that you have not only China and some developments on a trade agreement there, but then on India. And we've got Indian officials, Indian leadership coming to the U.S. to ratify a new U.S.-India trade deal. And we talked about that last week, where it's still a very important driver that the bean oil futures are being talked about for their connection to India. India, a large buyer of U.S. soybean oil exports last season, and those are soybean oil exports that do compete with soybean exports for one, and also soybean oil itself as a use in the domestic biofuel sector. That's all going to be a topic of today as well, where we have the next release of the National Oilseed Processors Association crush report, and to have that gauge as not only an effect of how well we're balancing this last crop in usage, but also stacking up that soybean oil reserves or not, and the increasing crush capacity is something we're looking for some more data on. So data this week on that will be key.
We also recently got an announcement from the U.S. Trade Representative about a trade deal with Taiwan. Is that something that will move the needle for ag products?
It will, and in the sense that both it can be material, physical demand from Taiwan. It's also, of course, that link with geopolitical relations with China included. When we're talking about Taiwan, there's a lot going on there right now that can dictate these next couple of months, which would be the further negotiations on a U.S.-China trade pact that could be then advanced, signed something for an update in April, when President Trump would meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping.
Spring planning starts with one smart decision. Corn Pro from Landis delivers a complete corn program with built-in savings. Nutritionals, herbicide, and fungicide, all working together in one plan backed by local expertise. Lock in competitive pricing, sign up any number of acres, and take advantage of 0% interest through 2026 to protect your cash flow. Less complexity, more performance. Get the most out of your corn crop with Corn Pro from Landis. Talk with your local Landis team today.
Last week, we got the announcement that the U.S. and Taiwan reached a trade agreement, and of course, it has a lot of implications across the broad economy. But what does it mean for our meat exports? Dan Halstrom of the U.S. MEF is going to be visiting right now with Riley Smith.
Last week, the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative announced the signing of a reciprocal trade agreement between the U.S. and Taiwan. U.S. Meat Export Federation President and CEO Dan Halstrom said the agreement includes significant market access gains for U.S. red meat exports, including beef, where Taiwan is already the fifth largest market.
The U.S. beef market currently $650 million a year, and with reduced tariffs and increased access on certain cuts, we see the potential to grow that product mix for Taiwan, which is great news. While not nearly as big a market on the pork side, we face continued challenges on tariffs with unequal tariff levels vis-a-vis some of our major competition like Canada, for example. So getting us on the same baseline there and increasing market access there would be a huge help.
U.S. pork has been at a trade disadvantage with competitors in Taiwan with both tariff and non-tariff barriers. There are also consumer trust issues in the market related to the country's policy on ractopamine residues. While there have been no violations or safety issues related to ractopamine in U.S. pork, Halstrom said Taiwan's amendment of its zero-tolerance policy a few years ago generated negative publicity that has been difficult to overcome.
We face a real issue with consumer acceptance of U.S. pork in Taiwan, and this will go a long way and not only get us on a level playing field tariff-wise, but hopefully helping us to improve the perception of U.S. pork in Taiwan. Definitely like to thank the Trump administration for their continued work to break down barriers for trade access, and any market that we can grow will work to the advantage of the U.S. cattle and pig farmer.
Halstrom said the benefits of this trade agreement extend beyond just beef and pork. Lamb and bison will see increased market access as well.
There's increased access, zero duty access for bison and U.S. lamb. So Once again, while not big markets, any increase in access and the opportunity for additional business is welcome to the U.S. bison producer as well as the U.S. lamb producer.
For more information, visit usmef.org.
Stay up to date with the latest in the ag industry with Agribusiness Matters from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. Each weekday, we bring you the latest advancements in farming, from new precision ag technology to cutting-edge sustainable farming practices. Agribusiness Matters is also your source for the most relevant ag news, policy discussions, and insights that are shaping the future of agriculture. Tune in to Agribusiness Matters on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, where Iowa Ag matters.
Hi, my name is Ethan Smith, and I've been a certified crop advisor in Iowa for about 6 years. The Iowa CCA program is valuable to me because it helps keep me informed on new topics and research around the industry, including soils, insects, diseases, and much more. It's also a great way to network with others around the state and beyond. Iowa is known for its crops, and that's why we're here. To learn more about becoming a certified crop advisor, visit iowacca.org.
Your local radio station brings you the local news you depend on. The Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network complements that with ag news, weather, and market updates tailored for Iowa's farmers. Together, we deliver the best of both worlds, local connection and industry expertise. It's all to keep you connected with the heartbeat of the heartland. The Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, connecting rural Iowa with the news that matters to you.
Time to run down those elevator prices here on Iowa Ag Matters. I'm Dustin Halfman, not seeing much change at all. In fact, only one elevator moving prices since yesterday, and unfortunately, both of them in a downward trajectory, about 2 cents. Let's take a look at where they're priced on this Tuesday. Let's start at ADM Burlington. They're 11 cents under on corn, $4.18. Soybeans, 14 cents under at $11.18. Cargill and Eddyville, 15 cents under on corn, cash bid $4.14. New Co-op Algona, 31 cents under on corn, $3.98. Soybeans, 70 cents under. They're at $10.62 for the cash bid. Ag State Sheldon, 18 cents under on corn, $4.11. Soybeans, 75 cents under, $10.57. Ag State Elta, 37 cents under on corn, $3.92 for the cash bid. Soybeans, 65 cents under at $10.67. Cargill Cedar Rapids, 14 cents under on corn, $4.15. Soybeans, 45 cents under. Cash bid, $10.87. Five Star Co-op Nashua, 22 cents under on corn, $4.07. Soybeans, 60 cents under at $10.72. Lincoln Way Energy Nevada, 19 cents under on corn, $4.10 for the cash bid. ADM Des Moines, 50 cents under on soybeans. Their cash price, $10.82. New Co-op Red Oak, 28 cents under on corn, $4.01. Soybeans, 75 cents under. They're at $10.57. Mid-Iowa Cooperative Green Mountain, 36 cents under on corn, $3.93 for the cash bid. Soybeans, 80 cents under, $10.52. New Co-op Sheraton, they are 32 cents under on corn, $3.97. Soybeans, 75 cents under. Cash bid, $10.57. At Walk-On Feed Ranch, they're 38 cents under on corn, $3.91. Soybeans, 70 cents under, $10.62. At New Co-op Glidden, they're 30 cents under on corn, $3.99 for the cash bid. Soybeans, 70 cents under at $10.62. At Innovative Ag Farley, 40 cents under on corn, they're $3.89. Soybeans, 72 cents under, cash bid $10.60. And at Cargill Muscatine, the river is closed for the season. The deliveries will resume there the week of March the 23rd. Cash corn and soybean bids are subject to change without notice. Always check with your local elevator when making sales to obtain the most recent price. That's been a rundown of your cash corn and soybean bids here on Iowa Ag Matters. We'll be right back.
You might think Iowa just grows corn, but the truth is corn grows Iowa. Farmers that invest in the Iowa Corn Checkoff support expanding and building demand for corn in all forms. By pooling our resources, we are able to make a larger impact in research, market development, and education, and increase the return of investment for our Iowa farmers. For more information, visit iowacorn.org.
You're listening to Iowa Ag Matters here on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and our special correspondent Russ Parker recently had the chance to speak with the team at John Deere about utility vehicles. Here's Russ with more.
I'm inside of a John Deere ATV, and I've got a guy here by the name of Eric Halfman, who will tell us all about this. But before we get started, Eric, maybe you can introduce yourself and tell us what your role is at John Deere and then we can talk about probably what's pretty passionate in your world from a topic perspective.
Yeah, you bet. I appreciate you having me. My name's Eric Halfman. I'm a go-to-market manager for Gator Utility Vehicles. Been with John Deere almost 28 years now, so I've seen the evolution of our utility vehicles, starting with an AMT in the 1980s, where there really weren't utility vehicles in the marketplace, and now, all the way to today, sitting in this XUV 845.
So let's talk a little bit about the go-to-market side of the equation. How do you interpret that in terms of the position that you've got?
Yeah, so I get the exciting opportunity to be able to launch products to the marketplace, to our customers, to our dealers. A little bit before our public launches, I get to work with our dealers, our marketing teams, and really work on the message of what customer value is being brought to the marketplace with the particular machines that are coming to market. So in this case, the XUV, a new Gator that was introduced in model year 25, enhancements to the Gator lineup that customers really tell us about and give us feedback on, and we take that feedback and try to be better for them so they can be better for themselves.
Sure. We were talking earlier that there aren't too many times, especially when you're in a rural marketplace, that you don't see some kind of a vehicle maybe part of the equation in terms of the equipment that you'd expect to see on the farm.
Yeah, we hear from our customers all the time. Most of them have utility vehicles on the farm, and most of the time, that's what they spend most of their operating time in. And many people tried to compare our utility vehicle to a pickup truck, and our customers tell us it's better than a pickup truck because it's easier to get in and out of. It goes places that the pickup truck doesn't. It's more nimble, and most certainly can go field to field very easily.
So let's talk about the vehicle that we're sitting in now. If I'm just a casual observer, I'll just add these comments. It's got roll-up windows. It's actually got full-size doors. It's got an ignition key. It's got vents on the side for, I'm assuming, air and heat. These things are just amazing.
So as soon as we put an enclosure on one of our Gator utility vehicles, the customer expectation went from, give me a powered wheelbarrow to, boy, you better make this thing like my pickup truck and every amenity that it has that my pickup truck has. Because, again, like I mentioned before, how much time they spend in it, they want it to feel and be very automotive-like. So, yeah, it's crazy the features that are on these machines that resemble their pickup trucks.
And in my hometown, it's not unusual to see one in town. And as long as it's got all the safety compliance part for the DOT, you're good to go.
Yes, yeah. So depending upon check your local regulations, depending upon how those line up, there are definitely opportunities for folks to utilize these on roadways.
So Eric, if a person wants to get a little more information and kind of start investigating these remarkable machines, what's the best way to get started?
So always available 24/7. John Deere, our Deere.com website. Search up Gators and you'll find that information. And go take a ride in the countryside. Chances are, real quickly, you'll be driving by a John Deere dealer, and our dealers will be willing to help you learn a little bit more about our new Gators.
Well, Eric Halfman with John Deere, go-to-market manager. It's just been a pleasure to talk to you.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. And remember, nothing runs like a deer.
Hi, my name is Ethan Smith, and I've been a certified crop advisor in Iowa for about 6 years. The Iowa CCA program is valuable to me because it helps keep me informed on new topics and research around the industry, including soils, insects, diseases, and much more. It's also a great way to network with others around the state and beyond. Iowa is known for its crops, and that's why we're here. To learn more about becoming a certified crop advisor, visit iowacca.org.
Well, we got word late last week, Mark, about the proposal from House Ag Committee Chairman G.T. Thompson in regards to a new farm bill. In case you've kind of been waiting on the sidelines and haven't been following along, we've been in need of one for quite a little bit of time here. And we look at it. It's got obviously all the titles that we've come to look for, whether that's forestry, agriculture, food, and nutrition, also conservation, crop insurance, things like that. But this comes at a time, Mark, and I know we've mentioned this many times before. We should be at the point right now where we're talking about replacing the farm bill that we're still looking to replace 3 years too late. Usually these are on 5-year rotations, and we should be looking at talking about a 2028 farm bill to replace a 2023. That's never happened yet.
Yeah, it's been bizarre to say the least. I mean, it's just been so abnormal to what we usually see with the farm bill. And we are still waiting to get something in place that is updated and modernized. And that's what we hear all the time. And you mentioned it. It is called the Farm, Food, and National Security Act of 2026. And it is scheduled for consideration by the House Agriculture Committee beginning on February 23rd. And if it does advance, the legislation could reach the House floor later this spring. And I know, just looking at some of the ag groups that had looked over the text of that bill, right when it was advanced or right when it was introduced, sounded like they were pretty much on board with it, liking what they had seen in the proposal. But there's still, as you mentioned, a very long way to go.
Well, yeah, we got to go through the Senate. We got to get it through the Senate Ag Committee. We got to get through conference committees if it happens. There's a long way to go, and this is not the first time since 2023 we've been in this position. So, pardon me for being a little cynical on that, but I'll believe it when I see it at this point right now. More Iowa Ag Matters in a moment.
Spring planting starts with one smart decision. Corn Pro from Landis delivers a complete corn program with built-in savings. Nutritionals, herbicide, and fungicide, all working together in one plan backed by local expertise. Lock in competitive pricing, sign up any number of acres, and take advantage of 0% interest through 2026 to protect your cash flow. Less complexity, more performance. Get the most out of your corn crop with Corn Pro from Landis. Talk with your local Landis team today.
This is the Midday Market Update on Iowa Ag Matters. I'm Mark Magnuson.
Joined today by John Heimberg of Total Farm Marketing. John, we started off with red in the grains to begin the day. Has that continued here at midday?
Well, we got to keep talking about that soybean market. They were pushing to some new highs on the day. We're up about 6 cents on the March contract, 11.39. 4 to 5 cents higher in the remaining contracts. So we're seeing some buying strength, staying that soybean market. Biggest thing probably helping out there is the soybean oil side of the equation that continues to see good money flow into both beans and oil. The 45Z tax package, as well as the possible trade with India, keeps that bean oil market poking at contract highs here. And that's one of the reasons we're seeing that strength in soybeans. Very counter-seasonal, considering weather in Brazil has improved. Harvest should ramp up. We're trading a solid dollar plus over or top the Brazilian bushels for the month of March. So I'm a little fearful that when this thing kind of hits its point, that this thing could turn over fairly quickly if it wanted to. But right now, the money wants to own beans, with strong buying in the bean markets here last week in terms of the funds and the managed money positionings. Corn and wheat, though, they're struggling today. A couple different things going on there. Seasonally, this is a weaker spot for corn. We got first notice day for corn contracts at the end of the month. We got options expiration. This is that window when basis contracts need to be priced. We typically see selling pressure here from now until the end of February. Wheat also is in a bit of a seasonal sale. We're down 11 cents in that front month contract. Really couldn't explain the rally last weekend other than money flow. So today they're pushing back some of those gains. So at least that's where we are in the grain markets to start the session today.
And then on the livestock side of the trade, we started off the day with quite a bit of upward price movement. Has that continued here at midday?
Yeah, buying strength continues in the cattle market. Now we're fading a little bit off some of those highs, but we had really good cash trade late on Friday. I heard as high as 248 in Kansas. Most of it's done around the 44-45 window in the south. So we've jumped up to kind of meet those numbers this morning. Gap higher on those live cattle charts. Feeder cattle following suit, $4 higher, $3 higher across the board there. There we're still chasing an index that's well above the front end contract. So powerful move there in the feeder market as well. Now we're at a spot here. If we can cross through some barriers, we're pushing ourselves maybe up to challenge those new highs. We're going to have to continue to see that cash trade kind of keep pushing. Given the numbers, that's a possibility. So, but lofty levels here, at least on the cattle markets again. With that over into the hog market, some good buying strength today. Now, we've had a pretty rough sell-off last week in hogs, so maybe some money just kind of getting some profit-taking equilibrium, maybe getting back into that hog market as we're seeing those deferred hog contracts, now that the February contract's off the books, up trading a solid $1 higher today.
Farmers, stay on top of your local market with Basis Matters from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. Every day, we bring you the latest corn and soybean cash prices from inland grain elevators and river terminals across Iowa. Get the prices you need to make the best-selling decisions, no matter where you are in the state. Basis Matters connects you to the numbers that matter most to your farm. Tune in every weekday only on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network and make informed grain marketing decisions with Basis Matters.
March corn down 4 cents at 4.27 3/4. March soybeans up 6 1/4 at 11.39 1/4. March soybean meal down 2.20 at 3.07 even. March soybean oil up 26 cents at 57.34. On the Merc, April live cattle up $1.85 at 242.48. March feeder cattle up 4.23 at 370.38. April lean hogs up 88 cents at 92.15. That was a check of the midday markets on Iowa Ag Matters. I'm Mark Magnuson.
Well, we're going to get back into the livestock side of the marketplace. Of course, cattle and hogs both started the day quite a bit stronger, especially the cattle complex. Not that that's any surprise. Joe Camp of Comstock Investments rejoining the conversation with Mark Magnuson to talk about livestock.
What's happening on the livestock side of the trade today?
It's a sharply higher start here for the cattle market. You could see some technical bullishness, the speculators now being emboldened, included with some contracts making an island reversal up to new highs, is this latest trend this week to follow through from what is a really solid and resilient cash trade. Going home last week, again, late deals. Hot, including for particularly feeder cattle, talking about record prints in some markets, and that's certainly a bullish fundamental underpinning for now. We don't have any big headline news to sift through. We're watching, of course, for any updates on the screwworm threat. We have the Mexican border still closed, and if anything, that's another check for the bulls there on cattle futures being higher. They're helping hogs off to a strong start as well today.
And are we still seeing new cases getting close to the U.S. border?
It seems like we are reading more about that, about different methods to continue to combat what seems to be to link back to the Mexican border close, enough of a reason to keep it closed. You have these sterile flies being released, I read about, and the new effort to contain it, but with also a case in the horse that we worked through in the market in Florida. You have these different headline points that can still continue to pop up, certainly on a very serious issue for the industry.
What's the best way for our listeners to get in touch for more marketing information?
Yeah, we're writing about it in the Comstock Report. Access to that is up at comstock.com.
Joe Camp Comstock, my guest here today. Thanks so much for the time, Joe. Always appreciate it, and have a great rest of your day.
Same. Thanks a lot.
Stay up to date with the latest in the ag industry with Agribusiness Matters from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. Each weekday, we bring you the latest advancements in farming, from new precision ag technology to cutting-edge sustainable farming practices. Agribusiness Matters is also your source for the most relevant ag news, policy discussions, and insights that are shaping the future of agriculture. Tune in to Agribusiness Matters on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, where Iowa Ag matters.
Hi, my name is Ethan Smith, and I've been a certified crop advisor in Iowa for about 6 years. The Iowa CCA program is valuable to me because it helps keep me informed on new topics and research around the industry, including soils, insects, diseases, and much more. It's also a great way to network with others around the state and beyond. Iowa is known for its crops, and that's why we're here. To learn more about becoming a certified crop advisor, visit iowacca.org.
In rural Iowa, we know you're sold on your local radio station. The Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network partners with local Iowa stations to deliver the latest in agriculture news, including grain elevator prices, market reports, and ag policy news. Trusted local voices, trusted ag content. This message is brought to you by your friends at the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, where Iowa Ag matters.
Back on Iowa Ag Matters, and of course, Mark had a chance to be at CattleCon in Nashville earlier this month and caught up with an Iowa producer who is an ESAP award winner, an Environmental Stewardship Award Program winner with the NCBA for our region. We have more right now.
Mark Magnuson for the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I am at CattleCon in Nashville 2026, and I'm joined by Jack Smith. He is an Iowa producer from Bankston, Iowa, which is near Epworth in Dubuque County. And Jack is a winner of an ESAP award, Environmental Service Award Program. He is the winner for region number 3. And Jack, could you tell me, please, first of all, where did this whole process start? Who nominated you to be available for this award? And could you kind of talk us through it a little bit, please?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Denise Schwab is our area extension cattle specialist, and she'd been to our farm over the years multiple times. We've had field days for her, and she suggested our family as a potential nominee. And then Erica Amundsen and Jackie Ditzworth made a trip up to our farm, and we did a little tour and had a conversation. And they said that if I wanted to go through with this process, that I would be the Iowa. They would work with me to do it. So we gave them an interview and kind of our philosophy on regenerative ag and how cattle fit in that process, which is, we strongly believe that cattle are beneficial to the environment. And so we worked through a submission, and in, I think it was about a year ago now, they said that we were the Area 3 winner. So it's been a really nice process for us, yeah.
And it's not just the one state, it's for an entire region, right? 5 different states, I think?
I believe it's Minnesota, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Iowa, and maybe Missouri. I think it is the Midwest area, yeah.
And Jack, when you talk about sustainability, regenerative ag, you hear a lot on the row crop side, not necessarily maybe as much on the cattle side. Could you tell us what kind of practices you employ on your operation and what really made you a good candidate for this award?
Well, we've been no-tillers for about 20 years, and I always had a really low tolerance for soil erosion. It just really bothered me whenever I'd see soil loss. So we made the commitment to no-till. We dabbled in it, and then when we got confident in what we were doing, we committed to it. And so we haven't tilled in years and years and years. And then I don't think no-till alone is enough to reach your sustainability goals. So we started adding cover crops probably 15 years ago, and now we cover crop every acre except the ones that go to alfalfa. We don't cover crop those. So our primary concern was to control erosion, but the secondary thing is that we've been able to grow a lot of extra feed, and then cattle make cover crops pay. Cover crops, there are a lot of cost shares, to cover crop, but I always tell people we would be doing these practices if there were no cost shares or subsidies, because we feel it's the way forward for us. So cattle, in the spring when rye gets about 8-10 inches tall, we start strip grazing our rye. And then when it comes time that we feel like it's ready to plant, we just kick the cows off and pull the planter in, same day or the next day, and plant green into that rye. And then we'll terminate the rye after it grows a couple more leaves. And then, we don't want to be late terminated rye and corn because we feel like it competes. Beans, we might give it a couple weeks before we terminate it. So then after we grow our crop, immediately one of our priorities is get cows right back on those cornfields because we feel like they're really beneficial to the environment. There's something magical about returning cattle to the landscape as far as soil health. We've been able to increase our organic matters about 0.1% a year, which is, if we can do 1% in 10 years, that's really a big thing.
Jack Smith, he is the ESAP Region 3 award winner. He's from Dubuque County. Jack, thanks so much for the time here today. Really enjoyed the conversation, and have a great rest of the CattleCon.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ethan Smith, and I've been a certified crop advisor in Iowa for about 6 years. The Iowa CCA program is valuable to me because it helps keep me informed on new topics and research around the industry, including soils, insects, diseases, and much more. It's also a great way to network with others around the state and beyond. Iowa is known for its crops, and that's why we're here. To learn more about becoming a certified crop advisor, visit iowacca.org.
Spring planting starts with one smart decision. Corn Pro from Landis delivers a complete corn program with built-in savings. Nutritionals, herbicide, and fungicide, all working together in one plan backed by local expertise. Lock in competitive pricing, sign up any number of acres, and take advantage of 0% interest through 2026 to protect your cash flow. Less complexity, more performance. Get the most out of your corn crop with Corn Pro from Landis. Talk with your local Landis team today.
Well, that's going to put the wraps on another edition of Iowa Ag Matters. Hope you have had a chance to enjoy some of the programming we're bringing to you. You can always find more on our website at iowaagnet.com. Thanks to Mark, thanks to Riley, and thanks to you for listening. We'll see you back here on Wednesday. You're listening to the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network.